Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Fall is officially here in full effect, and today I am bringing you along in my life as a mom while I do some postpartum cooking. We are heading to homeschool group, which it was a beautiful day at homeschool group. I'm going to be doing some stuff around the house because homemaking, cleaning, cooking, all of that pretty much never ends. You guys know I love sharing all the food I make, and I'm throwing it back a bit. I'm going to have you get ready with me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, please give it a thumbs up. Let's jump right into this fall day.
So my house is currently a mess. We're talking like a mess. So to those of you that don't know, I actually live in a really small house. I joke that it's like a glorified apartment, but it's nice. It's super cute. I actually prefer living in a small house in this stage of life. Like, even though sometimes I wish we had more storage, I like being in a one-story small house because of what I'm about to deal with. Honestly, like, I don't know if I can handle the mess of a bigger house. The only thing that would be nice is to have a separate play space. Like, okay, let's keep like the play stuff over here because my whole house is their play space. Now, I don't know. If you live in a bigger house, you let me know. Maybe it's like that even in a bigger house, that the kids just like turn the house into a play place. But that being said, I'm gonna clean up, but I'm only gonna clean up certain things. Like, I'm not going to clean up everything because some stuff, like, they're playing with. Like, over here, they've literally taken over our table and they've draped blankets over it to use it as a fort. I don't think I'm going to put that away quite yet. But like my kitchen, I have so many dishes. I really need to like get rid of all of this clutter that is everywhere. My bedroom, I have so much laundry to do. And Lizzie just went down for a nap. Logan, they're actually both sick right now. And Logan kind of just hurt himself. It's a long story. So he's sick and he hurt himself. So he is currently in bed watching an episode of VeggieTales. So I'm going to try to turbo clean up this house to the best of my ability in the next little bit. And once I get everything clean, I actually need to do some cooking because I have a couple of friends that are postpartum and I've been trying to bring them a meal for weeks now. And I'm so close to having that meal be done and ready to be delivered. And I would like to bring one of them over today and get the other one hopefully in the freezer, because the other one, the friend and I, we want to like hang out when I go over, but the kids are sick and she's just getting off a sick streak. So really the kids need to be better before I go over there. So I'm going to freeze her meal. But then the other one for my friend, I'm just going to do a drop off hopefully later today. So Dan is currently working on a job out of the house at a gig. I think you guys know this. If you don't, Dan works. He has his own like construction handyman. He does a lot of things. I think I've mentioned this before. He's actually like a certified welding inspector, but he's kind of a jack of all trades and will do everything from like hanging someone's ceiling fan or their TV to like building them a deck to laying a floor to like he's done decorative stuff like welding new handrails, hanging up canoes over the top of a deck like for decor, to like welding someone's like a piece of something that broke off of their bike. So he is off working at someone's house today, and we are getting a little stir crazy because the kids have been sick for a week at this point, and it gets really hard when they're sick for that long. And it's starting to get cloudy out, like, and colder. So that's been a little bit harder as well. Although Sunday, we did have kind of a perfect day on Sunday because we actually went out to the beach because it was outside. So I didn't feel weird about them like being out and around people. Plus, I don't even think they're really actively sick anymore. It's just Logan's got like a lingering cough and Lizzie is still like excreting a lot of snot. So it feels weird to go anywhere in public like that, you know? So, all right, I got to get going because who knows how long I actually have to even do all of this.
So I don't know about you guys, but my house tends to go in waves. This was kind of a struggle before kids, but especially with kids now. My house is not really a house that is like consistently clean. It's a house that like gets cleaned, picked up. Everybody's all, wow, the house is so clean. And then it kind of like burns in a fiery mess all around my ears. Does that make sense? That was kind of a weird way to describe that. But I think you get my gist. Oh, by the way, I should say, if I sound funny in this voiceover, it is because I am recovering from being sick. Again, sickness has been sweeping through our lives over the last like month and a half. It hit me again. And so I'm actually recording on my little handheld mic inside versus like my nice mic outside. Anyways, back to the cleaning. When I'm cleaning, probably the most important part that I focus on, like if I can't do anything else, the main thing I'm going to do is the kitchen. And that is because the kitchen, maybe this is obvious, right? Feels like the communal spot, like the spot where everyone is going to be hanging, the spot where things pretty much have to unfold there like 3 times a day, give or take. And so the kitchen has turned into my very first spot whenever I'm cleaning up, because if I can't get anything else done, at least the heartbeat of my home for us is done. Now, you guys know I cook at home most of my meals. We do eat out, but it's actually pretty rare. And on top of that, I would say most of my cooking is from scratch. So I have lots of dishes to do pretty much all the time. I mean, don't all moms? I feel like even if you're not cooking from scratch, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe if you aren't cooking from scratch, you don't have as much cleaning to do. But I had a lot of cleaning to do. So I did all my dishes, scrubbed off the stovetop. I swear, I'm still getting used to cooking on an electric stove. Like, it's gotten better over the years, but I have deeply missed my gas stove now for years. I want to know, do you guys cook on gas or electric? Because I thought for a long time I could never make the switch until I was forced to make the switch. I'm used to it, but I still miss cooking with real fire. So after I cleaned all of my pans, it was time to put them away. We also have a really not great storage situation for our pans. That's something else. If you guys want to let me know in the comments, if you have any suggestions for like pan storage, they're literally like thrown and stacked into a pile under our island, which, you know, it is what it is. It's what we're working with right now. But I feel like I could do something better even in our tiny space, in our tiny home. Does our house qualify as tiny? I feel like it doesn't qualify as a tiny home, but I feel like it does qualify as a small home. Today, I also felt compelled to give a little bit more of a serious wipe down to baby girl's high chair. I love this high chair. We've been using it for, well, we got it when I had Logan, so almost 6 years now. I think it's called the Stoke high chair. I don't remember, but it is really awesome. I knew when we got it, I'm like, we're gonna have this high chair forever and probably pass it down to people. But I still feel that way 6 years later. Is that impressive or no? Is that like all high chairs probably last that long? I don't know. But either way, we like it. So yeah, also I really need to figure out my Roomba situation, because every time I sweep my house, I feel like I'm wasting my time, because we literally own a Roomba, but I have nowhere to store it. Like, it has to have a home base. And I feel like I literally have no ground space in the main part of my house to like dock a Roomba. And even if I did, I feel like the baby is still so grabby. She's just going to want to take the Roomba. I mean, we could get over that, but still, I really need to figure out the Roomba situation. I swear, I don't actually know how all of my houseplants, most of my houseplants, are doing so well, because I don't feel like I'm very good at taking care of them. Like, I give them water every couple months, maybe I fertilize them, but I really don't know the rhyme or reason as to how or why they do well. I think that because they do well, people will like put me in the category, and because I've like shared my love of plants over the last few years as like a plant lady, but I'm really not like sure how I'm doing it. Sometimes when I water them, I feel like multiple leaves will go yellow. I'm like, okay, thought you needed water. You seemed really dry. I feel like yellowing can sometimes be a sign of like overwatering and losing minerals. But then other times I water and it seems like the plants just like bounced back to life with fervor. Is that the word? I don't know. Anyways, watered the plants. And then I was very thirsty at this point. And this is one of my favorite like natural high hydration electrolyte type drinks that I make. So I start by squeezing an entire lemon, like all the lemon juice, into a cup like so. Then I take some raw honey and I squeeze that into the lemon juice, and I'm going to whisk that right up. Now, you want the honey, and I put in a good amount, like half a teaspoon or something like that, of salt into this mixture. And you want this mixture to really like melt together. By the way, I had to show you a shot. Look at all these beautiful pears. One of my friends who lives up the street from us has the most gorgeous pear tree, and these pears are the best pears I've ever had in my life. Just throwing it out there. We call them Dalton Garden Gold. Anyways, once the honey and lemon and salt had fully melted together, so it was like a little syrup, I pulled out my Mountain Valley sparkling water, which is my favorite sparkling water. It's really good. And apparently it's really good for you. And I pour that into the mixture to make my drink. And then I went and I filled it with ice.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I have this thing where in the afternoon, I can get like crazy thirsty. Doesn't happen all the time, but it happens fairly regularly. And one of the ways that I combat that, sometimes I'm able to combat that with like a really heavy electrolyte drink in the morning. Didn't have one this morning, so now it's about 1 o'clock. I'm feeling that thirst come on, and so I made this drink. And this is one of the things that really like quenches that thirst. So good. I know it's so good.
Okay, so at this point, this was a task I had been waiting to do for a couple of weeks. and that was build these 2 postpartum meals for some friends of mine. Both of these friends had had their babies within like the last few weeks, so I was overdue for this meal. And one of the friends, her family is larger, and one of the friends, it's just their first baby, so they just needed 1 container. So we had made up a bunch of this barbacoa. Oh, that was my bay leaf that I took out of my barbacoa meat. And I had made it in the crock pot the day before. My current favorite barbacoa recipe was given to me by my friend, and this is from The Modern Proper. It's a blog. And so I basically separated up all of my barbacoa meat into these 3 containers. I don't know. I got these containers back when we lived in Nashville. They're like meal prep containers, but they're really good for divvying up food for people like this. And so I separated up the meat. Oh, if you hear Lizzie next to me, she just said hi. Say hi.
Hi.
Anyways, once I had divvied up all my meat, I knew I wanted to make a few sides to go with the food. So I made some guacamole, and spoiler alert, this guacamole turned out to be amazing. So I squashed my avocado, chopped up some finely diced onion, squeezed a bunch of lemon juice in there, got out the rest of my stuff. I think I ended up adding in like some cilantro. I have some cherry tomatoes that need to be used before they go bad, so I pulled those out as well. So this has been one of my new favorite ways to make guacamole, where I essentially mix most of like the smooth ingredients first, like the spices, the lemon juice. I did a little onion here too, but most of the smooth ingredients. And then I just lightly fold in like the rest of the ingredients. Obviously, I didn't do that with all of it. Like I said, I put in the onions. Sometimes lately if you saw my recent videos, I've been putting cheddar cheese in the guac. I skipped that today, but this guacamole was so good, guys. And so once the guac was made, I made a little side dish to go with the food for the friend whose meals I was bringing that day, because I actually wasn't bringing both of their meals this day, so I only made 1 side dish, and then the other meat was going to go in the freezer until I brought it over. But I added some cheese, some cilantro and onions. I did also make some white corn flour tortillas from scratch with white corn masa. I didn't show that because I feel like I've been showing myself making tortillas in lots of videos recently. And then I also threw in the package that I'm sending, these white corn masa chips. They're incredible, super simple ingredients, just masa, tallow, and salt. And if you use Nikki Philippi, you can get 20% off of your first order. And I threw in a bunch of Scout bars and cookies for the kids, which I feel like is extra fun to get in a postpartum package. Like, then your kids are excited too. And I have a discount code for these as well. They're also really simple, great ingredients. If you use the code NikkiP, you can get 20% off of your Scout bar order. I had to pause and look over and show you because the kids have been building, this is what I'm talking about, messes in the living room. They've been building forts, and Lizzie was having so much fun essentially just playing peekaboo over the chair with us. And I had to capture this moment because it was just way too cute. Side note, if you're looking for amazing candles, Ginger June are incredible. They're fairly clean ingredients, and the owner is amazing. She's a believer, as evidenced by the Bible verse on the candle. I should ask her if I can get a discount code because I featured her stuff a few times. I'll look into that for you. So at this point, the colder weather was rolling in, and I knew I wanted to make some chili. Guys, we are back at the time of the year where I am going to be living off of chili. I feel like I've lived off of chili just in general for the last few years of my life. It's my favorite food postpartum. Legit, it is the easiest way for me to get like high amounts of protein in. I actually can't think of another meal that I eat where I can get as much protein down. Like, I can really shovel down some chili, guys. And this year, my goal is to continue to experiment with different chili recipes, because I'd really gotten to the point where I was just kind of like making my own chili recipe, which is great. A lot of you guys have asked me if I haven't addressed this, if I'm ever going to release my cookbook. And guys, yes, the goal is, God willing, that He gives me a long life, I will be releasing a cookbook one day. But I feel like I've had far too high of hopes and too high of an expectation. I guess it's the same thing for this make-believe timeline in my head that's just not happening, guys. But if it gives you any hope, this will hopefully mean that when I do release it one day, it will be full of delicious recipes that, you know, I've been able to really take my time with and not rush. I don't know, guys. Lots of excuses over here. But either way, making chili on this day, we were browning up some ground beef and also some elk. I think I told you guys this, but last year, Dan actually caught, or whatever the word would be, harvested an elk basically in our backyard. It's kind of crazy. We're backed up to a mountain, and Dan is friends with someone who owns a good amount of property, like right behind us. And so he actually got to go like hunt right behind us. We actually heard the shot fired when he got the elk. So we're still cooking from that elk. So he did not actually go this year. Anyways, back to what I was saying before. I'm trying different chili recipes now moving forward because I just want to. I feel like I'm eating a ton of chili. Dan gets a little more burnt out on chili than me. So it's also him wanting me to experiment with different recipes. And this recipe that I made today was a winner. This was a little bit of an adjusted version of one of the half-baked harvest chilies that she makes with poblano peppers. I did like lots of extra poblano, and that's because our neighbors who have like little farm stands have been selling a ton of poblano peppers lately. So I put in a lot of poblano peppers. And I just kind of, I adjust measurements to what we like, what I have on hand. But one thing I really liked about this recipe, and I've never done this in chili before, and you might laugh because once I tasted it, I'm like, oh yeah, this is, I can tell, a pretty common chili recipe or chili ingredient, is I added cinnamon. And the cinnamon is really good, guys. It really adds like a unique flavor. Although, like I said, not too unique because I realized, I've tasted this in chili before. But yeah, unique, I would say, compared to what I was making before, which I have been making consistently for a while now, a spinoff, like my own version of the chili recipe from Downshiftology. But yeah, this just turned out to be really delicious. Honestly, very rarely do I ever not like chili when I make it. Like I said, I like my chili. I'm not like the pickiest person when it comes to my chili, but I'm experimenting for fun. And like I said, also because of Dan wanted some experimentation up in here in his chili. Also, as I'm watching this, I think you should ignore me because I don't think this was the half-baked harvest one, because I actually just made, although she has a few ones, but I made the poblano, a little different, half-baked harvest chili recipe last night. And it did not include like a good chunk of the things I just watched myself add in this video. So I'm sorry. I'm not quite sure which chili recipe this is, but hopefully this can inspire you to make some chili if it's cooled off where you are.
It's Monday! Yay! Okay, so Mondays for us, normally, don't mind me, I am about to get ready. I'm gonna pull myself together to look just a little more presentable. But Mondays for us normally means homeschool group. We go to our friend's house and it's like a play-based homeschool group, so we're not doing any curriculum together, but they've actually been out of town for the last 6 weeks, so we have not had our Monday homeschool group, and it's been very sad for our whole crew because the group, the moms are friends of mine, so it really refills my cup as well to go to this homeschool group. But also the homeschool group, how many times can I say homeschool group, is something that my kids love, even Lizzie. And I feel like because she's a baby, there's not a whole lot that she evidently really loves. She really likes homeschool group because the girls that are at this group are so sweet to her. They love playing with her. Logan obviously loves it. My friend it's like a farm situation. It's not a massive farm, but it's it's like 5 acres, pretty big farm. And the kids get to basically run free on it. They stay away from the big animals that are put away, or in their grazing, roaming area, whatever we want to call it, but they basically just get to run free. The weather is beautiful. It is like a quintessential fall day here in Coeur d'Alene. It's going to be about 65 degrees. It's sunny. It's beautiful. I'm very excited, but I need to get ready. My mom actually has the kids for a few minutes because I'm going to get ready. I actually have to do a little bit of work on the computer, and then we are going to head out. And on the way, we actually need to pick up water at my friend's house because we buy spring water that my friend picks up at a local spring, and I have to bring her back her jug and pick up the next jug of spring water. So it's time to get ready.
Okay, so I love this rose water. It's very gentle. I've actually had to switch my skincare over the last couple of months because I started getting I don't even know, fam, some kind of rosacea or something. And I feel like I'm turning my back on tallow, guys, which some of you might be laughing because I know a lot of people said it was a trend. And I've been using tallow now for the last few years, but I just started feeling like it wasn't hydrating my skin, which makes sense. There's no water in tallow, but I just felt like I needed something else. So I've actually made a switch back to this Caudalie cream I used years ago, at least for the time being. This is my current super fast go-to routine where I just use concealer on a couple spots. It's from Ilia, and then I use this powder foundation from Adele Cosmetics. Then I use my Ilia bronzer above my cheekbones, around my forehead, down my neck, under my chin. And then I apply my blush using this blush palette from Tarte that is probably expired. I've had way too long, but I don't know, man. I'm not too weird about things expiring necessarily when they're like a blush like this. You know, an eyeliner, a mascara, it's maybe a little bit different. But then I filled in my brows, used my brow gel from Ilia. I use a lot of Ilia products. And then I just used this highlighter that I have from 100% Pure on my eyes, on the highs of my cheekbones. Used a little bit of a shimmery taupe on my crease. Used my Ilia mascara as well as this little eyelash separating brush. And then this has been my lip combo lately. I've been using Benetint to kind of outline my lips and just give them a stain, like a base stain, before I apply my lipstick. And then I used my Ilia lipstick. And that's my go-to, like, 5-minute, literally 5-minute makeup routine. And then I wanted to brush my hair and do my Dutch braid, which is, if you don't know what a Dutch braid is just like an inverted French braid or like an inside out French braid. So if you're going to French braid your hair and each like piece that you pull over to braid, instead of pulling over, you go under. Does that make sense? Like a French braid, the hair goes over. Dutch braid, each piece of hair goes under. I don't know how to explain it more simply than that. I think if you do not know how to braid your own hair and you only know how to braid other people's hair, which is apparently a very common thing, I think you need to practice and figure out how to braid your own hair, because braiding your own hair is like the best skill to have, especially if you have long hair, at least for me, because I love having long hair, but I don't always find having long hair to be super convenient. Sometimes you just want your hair to be out of the way. All right, so once I was ready, it was time to make my way into the kitchen and throw together a quick sandwich. And on this day, I meant a really, really quick sandwich. Like, this is not my tip-top health goals kind of sandwich, but also like it's fine. So at the same time, I was packing the kids some snacks and food. So I threw in these salami cheese rolls, some extra salami slices, some grapes. I think I was going to bring them like a chopstick and a Scout bar. To be honest, they don't really eat very much at Homeschool Group because they're so stoked to be playing games with the kids. It's hard to get them to sit. So usually, especially Logan is just snacking on the ride home from Homeschool Group, but I got to have something because it is definitely time to eat by the time we're done. By the way, that Salsa Queen stuff is not super healthy, but it's super delicious, and we'd gotten it at Costco over the weekend. So just threw that sauce down, some turkey, cilantro, thick slices of heirloom tomatoes from the local garden stands, some seasoning on the tomatoes, chili pepper flakes, salt, and then I had a little bit of homemade sourdough bread left, cut it in half, threw it in some foil to pack for the road. All right, so before we go to Homeschool Group, I need to pump. I do like a pre-homeschool pump, a pre-homeschool pump. Okay, so I've got my pumps going. I have 10 minutes to do this, and then I gotta get the kids from my mom. But I wanted to really quickly answer a question because I got this question on Instagram, and I don't know, maybe some of you were wondering the same thing. So someone asked me how long I plan on pumping for Lizzie. So Lizzie is almost 18 months. She'll be 18 months in a few weeks, which is crazy. It's so crazy to me, on a side note that's not a side note, to think that I have a 1.5-year-old baby, because in so many ways she's still, I mean, she is a baby, right? But she still feels like a baby. And I feel like I have so many friends or peers or internet moms, whatever, that have babies that are much younger than Lizzie, and they're either already pregnant again or talking about having another baby or have already had another baby. Now, granted, you guys know my pregnancy was crazy. If you didn't know that, I had something called HG, hyperemesis gravidarum. So I threw up 90% of my pregnancy, like anywhere, some days from like 10 to 30 times a day. I did have days where I didn't throw up or where I only threw up once. Those were amazing, but they were very, very, very rare. And most of those days were at the end of my pregnancy. So randomly, for some reason, and it was a little scary, but obviously everything was fine, I stopped throwing up the last like 2.5 weeks of my pregnancy almost entirely. It was the best I felt my entire pregnancy. It was amazing. Even though I was full term, I went to almost 42 weeks. I was bouncing around and I kept saying like, geez, if this is what pregnancy was like the whole time, like being pregnant would be a breeze. Like, it was just so wild. Anyways, I know that's a big reason
But I think also for me personally, like milk making, lactating, pumping, all of that is very like all consuming. Not totally all consuming, but it takes a lot of energy. I eat a lot more food, which is amazing after, 9 months of throwing up. That's part of why I eat so much post-pregnancy is I'm just like, food, because 9 months of being that sick is kind of low-key scarring. Like, honestly, it is a little bit traumatizing, not to like put that over myself, but it was really crazy. As I'm saying this, I'm like looking at my Valor essential oil, which that's another question, side note, that someone asked me in my Q&A was, if I still like sell Young Living or if I still use Young Living. I don't sell Young Living anymore. I do still use Young Living. The answer that I gave in there, which is all I'm comfortable kind of explaining right now, is that I ended up getting to the point where I didn't like the way the company was treating me. There were like a bunch of things that happened kind of over and over and over, and they kept building. And at first, Dan was kind of just like, hey, it's okay. Like, you need to calm down a little bit. And then when stuff just kind of kept happening, he was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is pretty wild. So that is all I'm comfortable saying at this point. I may explain more down the line, but also I kind of need to tread carefully because as weird as this sounds, Young Living actually has something in their like seller agreement when you are a distributor that if you leave, you're not allowed to talk badly about them. So, that being said, do what you want with that. I still like Young Living oils, like a lot. I have a bunch of them still because I won so many free oils. I ordered so many oils that I am like set up with oils for a while, other than Valor. I may be running out of Valor here in a little bit, and that will make me sad, and I will have to either purchase Valor or purchase from another brand that does a blend similar to Valor because it's so amazing. Anyways, that was a tangent. Back to the original question, because this was another question I got in that like Q&A box I did on Instagram. The question was how long I plan on pumping for Lizzie. And the thing is, I don't really have a timeline. Now, if I had a goal, I am really, really hoping, really hoping that Lizzie's going to be done around 2 years old. I could honestly stop today and be very happy, but I'm not going to because she really likes my milk. We have tried to offer her cow's milk. We've tried to offer her goat's milk. She doesn't want it. We've tried mixing cow's milk and goat's milk with breast milk, my breast milk, and she still doesn't want it. And it's funny, she's a funny little combo, like her personality, a very like dainty and like laid back and chill. She was the chillest like baby. But then she has this other side to her, like she will get sassy and opinionated and she will let you know. And she's so funny. When I've given her those bottles, she doesn't know it looks the same. She takes her bottle, she wants it. Oh yes, she starts sipping it. Her eyes get wide. She looks at me. She frowns, takes the bottle away, throws it to the ground, and then just starts whining again. It's kind of hysterical. And so because of that, because she's not taking it, I don't know. I mean, I might get more serious about like really pushing towards weaning or other types of milks in the upcoming months. But when we've offered and we've tried, she's not liking it. She's not accepting. So as of right now, I'm still just doing it. And I feel similarly, barring like the mom, aka me, having any like serious health or mental health issues, I feel the same way about the breastfeeding process as I do about pregnancy, in the sense that like when you get to the end of pregnancy and it's like, oh, are you going to try to rush it? Like, are you going to try to induce? I am not a fan of induction, naturally or unnaturally. Like, unless, like I said, it has to happen for some reason. You decide what that reason is. It is what it is. But as a generalization, I think that babies are supposed to bake till they're ready. Like fruit on a tree doesn't all ripen at the exact same, in the same timeline. I think it's the same thing with breast milk. I think that babies, well, first off, I think they probably need it a lot longer than we are like accustomed to giving it to them in the US. But also, I just think in general, like baby-led weaning, I don't know, I didn't even mean to like pull from that, but like I think she'll tell me, I think she'll make it obvious as she's able to kind of step away from my milk. Like I said, that could change if I start to go more and more insane and like push it more. We're just gonna kind of take it as it comes. But as of right now, 18 months in, I am still pumping 6 to 8 times a day in a 24-hour period. That's pretty much what you have to do to maintain a full like milk supply. It's the amount of times that you pump, and then it's also the amount of minutes. So 1 to 2 of those pumps a day will be like 40-minute sessions on my LVs, and then all of the other pumps in the day are anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes. And my middle of the night pump is only 10 minutes to give me relief. And I usually do that anywhere between like 2 and 4 a.m. So yeah, I mean, I'm also one of those people, like I eat a lot when I'm breastfeeding, like a lot. And I kind of feel like I was just telling this to Dan last night. I kind of feel like, and I feel weird, a little weird even talking about this, because I don't know, weight, whatever, I'm just going to say it. I feel like I kind of have to hold on to like an extra 10 pounds when I am making milk. That might not be true, but that's what I feel is true. Like when I'm not lactating, when I'm not making milk, I tend to practice very light intermittent fasting. So like I will eat my dinner around 5, 6, 7 o'clock, somewhere in there normally. And then I will not eat till the next day at breakfast. And my breakfast could be anywhere between 7 and 10 a.m. depending on how I'm vibing. So I go 12 to 15 hours without eating. So it's a very minimal, light fasting situation. But that is something that I feel like keeps me from being bloated, keeps my inflammation down, it keeps my weight in a place that I feel like comfortable moving through life. But when I'm breastfeeding, I can't do that. I had a friend who was kind of giving me like bouncing health stuff off of me, like ideas. And she was at one point, we were talking about just different inflammation that I'm dealing with. And she's like, you know, saying fast, intermittent fast, stop eating after dinner. I did it one night, guys. I thought I was going to lose my mind. I was starving, ravenous. So pretty much every single night while breastfeeding, I eat 2 dinners. I eat my first dinner, and then later at night before bed, I eat a second dinner. It's a small dinner. I mean, small is relative, right? Like last night, I think my dinner was my second dinner, right, at like 9:30. Was like 3 eggs that I had fried with like some peppers from the garden with a little bit of Parmesan cheese and like an orange. So it's like a big snack. It's not necessarily a dinner, depends on who you ask. But point being, ooh, I'm getting thirsty. Hold on, I'll take a sip of my tea. That's the other thing. On the way to homeschool group, I have to make the swap. Maybe I already said that with my friend to get spring water. Anyways, we will see how long I go. Once this is done pumping, I actually have to go pack my LVs because my typical routine is on the way home from homeschool group, I put my LVs on in the car because I'm just sitting there anyways, and the drive is about 30 minutes. And so I just pump the whole way home and it's perfect. And yeah, man, I managed to like spend the whole time pumping, talking to you guys. I don't know. That's pretty much it. Oh, no, I'll say one more thing. Here's the other reason I would like to be done pumping by April, okay? This is between us, guys, okay? That's our little secret. It's not a secret, whatever. Dan and I are considering trying to have another baby, considering it. We don't know if we're going to try. Obviously, whether we do or not is completely up to God. But we are considering trying again for obvious reasons that I mentioned, my sickness being the primary one, top of the list. I'm very nervous at the thought of trying again. I am working with an HG coach. I've mentioned this before. I will have her information down below for any of you that want to check her out because I have been asked before about her. She works with women all the time and sees supposedly incredible success, like her reviews. There's another content creator I follow who she's pregnant now and she's like, my HG is gone. So there's that. But part of the like preparing my body potentially for pregnancy in my mind would be that I would like to be done pumping. I would like to be done pumping and like getting full night's sleeps, just like soaking up the sunshine. If we were going to try again, we are thinking early fall next year. We will see, like I said, but that's just kind of what's going on in my imagination. And yeah, I would just like to be done pumping and just fully back to like resting, sleeping, working out, healthy weight. Nikki, I work out now. I work out regularly now, but I would just like to be, you know, in my best prime shape because I don't know if I do get pregnant, I don't know what I'm walking into. God willing, I won't walk into HG again. But healing from HG after pregnancy is its own thing because that long of throwing up is physically taxing in a lot of different ways, including, I mean, I had lost like all of my muscle mass. Not really, because obviously I was still standing and walking and stuff from the toilet to the bed or from the sink to the bed. But, you know, all the muscle I had worked to gain in regards to like all my joint issues and stuff that was gone. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I could go in like 14 different directions. My pump is done now. Right? I'm done. No more milk's coming out. Yeah, we're good. But that's the gist. So just thought I'd throw that in there. I got pour this milk out, and then grab the babies and head to homeschool group.
So I don't know, not that you guys need this information, but we have only had one car since we've moved to Idaho. Now, that's for a couple of reasons that are kind of long stories, but it's actually been totally fine because, as you guys know, I have had a lot going on since moving here. Lots of injuries, lots of illness, pregnancy, sickness, all of that jazz. But we've been blessed enough that my parents actually let me use their car. So that's what this car is. If you were wondering, this is my parents' car that we use to run errands like so, to head off to homeschool group, meet friends, whatever, yada yada. By the way, I recently got this Awala water bottle. I'm obsessed. I now understand the hype. It was so beautiful on this day at the farm. This is my friend's farm, and like literally the quintessential fall day. It was beautiful, a little cool, but not really. It was actually kind of warm because of the sunshine, and all of the moms hung out on her front porch, which felt like a dream. Honestly, Lori Beth's front porch feels like a movie scene in a lot of ways when the weather is perfect, because we're all able to just have the most beautiful views of the kids climbing the trees, playing on the yard, running in and out of the house. It's lovely. This is a play-based homeschool group, and we love it because the kids have so much fun together. They actually do a lot of learning through the play. These days bring on a lot of fun conversation and memories, and it's just great. All right, we are wrapped up with homeschool group. I have my pumps on. I told you guys, this is like my routine. I've got my Cascade water, and it's time for the drive back home. The weather is beautiful, but the sun is on its way down. Fall is definitely here. It's getting dark earlier. I'm nervous. I spent the morning looking at house swapping situations for like February. Dan is going to be working quite a bit longer today, so I don't know when we'll see him. I think we're gonna have leftover chili for dinner tonight, so it's very exciting time. Time to go home.